And one of the things that helped me stay high vibe is like, having things like, adaptogenic mushrooms and these like plant medicines and stuff like that. While we're at it, we should have some herb mana. But yeah, it's one of those things that when I'm feeling low vibe, man, I like to have me. Thank you, sir. Take this with a little bit of wine.
Taking my high potency adaptogenic plants and mushrooms with some Côte red wine.
Mm, Cheers. Cheers.
But yeah, this podcast while we're at it, or this video cast, is brought to you by Urban Mana, which is our company. We decided to create a medicinal plant and mushroom supplement because they work. There's tons of scientific studies proving the effectiveness of medicinal plants and mushrooms. They've been used in traditional Chinese medicine for hundreds of years, some thousands of years, like in the case of Rishi and ashwagandha. And these things work. But in starting to use these substances, I realized that there was a big gap in the market where there's a lot of bullshit out there. And when it comes to supplements, it is the wild, wild west. You go on Amazon and you type in medicinal mushroom, and 9.99 out of 10 products you'll find are complete garbage. And that's because the people making these things are taking advantage of the lack of knowledge of the consumer because it's relatively new. So somebody will hear about medicinal mushrooms on a podcast like this one, or like Joe's podcast, or Paul Stamets speaking, or any of these guys, and they'll say, okay, medicinal mushrooms, I want to try that. Reishi mushroom, chaga mushroom, cordyceps mushroom. These things have become not household names, but on the West Coast, like a lot of people know about these things, and they work. They're incredible, but again, a lot of the products are bullshit because they're hiding the most important information from the end user, and these are things like active compound levels. So you can take the biggest brands out there, from the top mycologists out there, who are apparently the guys who know everything, who have TED Talks and have millions of views and tons of followers and seem all, scientific about this stuff. When you actually look at their products, they're garbage. There is no medicinal mushroom product you can buy on a shelf in North America that advertises the active compound levels. And the only reason a company doesn't advertise the active compound levels is because the product is so low potency that they don't want you to know how strong it is.
Mm-hmm.
So think of right now, anybody watching, think of your favorite medicinal mushroom company, or one that's really famous that you think they must be legit. Look on the back of the box, go online, go on Google, look at the product itself. If it doesn't show the active compounds inside of the mushrooms and the percentage of them, it's a garbage product that's a waste of time. And I found this out by literally spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on different supplements, and the effects were all over the board. And I didn't understand like what made one more potent than the other. Some of these products say they're super extracted, heat treated, micronized, chop it up in little bits, and like all these different things. And it's like none of them are actually saying anything of merit, right? If somebody says my extract is super potent and it's a 10-to-1 extract, that doesn't tell you how potent the product is. You can't go test it in a lab across the world and they'll tell you, yeah, it's a 10-to-1 extract. It doesn't work that way. What you're looking for is the active compounds. So in the case of something like Cordyceps, which is a medicinal mushroom that gives you energy through a bunch of different modalities, if the level of cordycepin and adenosine aren't listed, which are the active compounds, you literally have no way of knowing how potent the supplement is. And every single Cordyceps product that you've ever looked at or ever tried to buy hasn't shown you that level. Mm-hmm. And that was the gap in the market we saw. And so we decided to start our own company. And that's how Urban Mana came to be. And that's truthfully how Raise Your State came to be, because the mission statement of Urban Mana is Raise Your State. Mm-hmm. Now, Raise Your State is evolving into something else, which is beautiful. But Urban Mana is the most potent and bioavailable medicinal plant and mushroom energy supplement on the market. And that's a bit of a mouthful, but basically it's 5 high-potency plant and mushroom extracts that are brought to you in levels of active compounds that have never been seen before on the market. And that's not because I'm growing these things myself. It's because we went to the producers and we said, how do we make a better supplement? And they say, spend more money, buy a better quality extract. we can concentrate these things again and again and again and again. And all of these main companies that you're seeing selling their stuff for $40, $50, $60 a bottle are using $1 worth of ingredients, right? Like appalling potency. It's so low potency. All they say on the package is high potency, and they don't give you any other information. It's it's like buying gasoline without knowing the octane rating.
And the reason that a lot of these companies are winning is because, for those that don't know, like my background is marketing and branding and things like that. And the reason those companies are winning is because they're spending that $1 and they're selling the product for, even if they're selling it for, $30, $40, like that's a giant margin. They're putting a big chunk of that into marketing, spending it on, Amazon ads, on Facebook, YouTube, Google, whatever, you name it. And that's why they're winning. And they have great branding. They have the most beautiful packaging that you can imagine. And you're right. I mean, as a consumer, I didn't know this until you explained that to me. I had no idea about, active compounds and like seeing that on the box. And as a consumer, you would never know that.
You'd never know it. And yeah, medicinal plants and mushrooms work 100%. There's boatloads of studies, but you need to actually get a proper product. And when it comes to medicinal mushrooms specifically, if it's not extracted, if it doesn't say extracted on the packaging, it's almost not bioavailable at all because of the cell structure of how a mushroom is created, made out of a substance called chitin, which actually encapsulates and contains the active compounds. So if you can't break that down because you don't have the right enzymes in your body, which most people don't, you can be eating hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of Rishi, Cordyceps, and Chaga and literally not getting any of the active compounds because they're trapped inside the mushroom. But there's layers to it, because even if you could get to the active compounds, it's not concentrated enough because they're buying an inferior product. So that's why we started Urban Mana. It's amazing. Check it out. Yeah, we're just getting started, but we're so confident that we post our third-party lab studies right on our website for you to see. We're 100% transparent. We have multiple labs from different parts of the world verifying the levels of active compounds, and there's no marketing bullshit. What you see is what you get. And I'd urge anybody else saying, the brand I buy is good. I know it is. I'd urge you to contact their team, their head office, and ask for the lab results of how potent it is. They're not going to give it to you. And there's only one reason, and it's because it's not a good product. It's just not. And like you said, these days marketing wins.
Marketing wins.
Right? So medicinal plants and mushrooms, definitely a way to raise your state. And it should be seen like it's a superfood. It should be seen like part of your diet.
Yeah.
Right? Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine. Right? And it's like, that's what we're doing here. All natural, no caffeine, no BS, just the good stuff.
Yeah, for me, it's like when I take Urban Mana, it's, yeah, we talked about it, clean burning energy. I just feel like it doesn't feel like, and I don't really drink coffee a lot, but I, have caffeine once in a while in teas or things like that. And, with that, it's more, maybe not so much on tea, but, I hear the experiences, and I've had a couple of my own with coffee. It's like more of that kind of like this, and there's more of that, right? And it's like,
right.
I feel with, Urban Mana and like these better quality plant and mushroom medicines, it's just this like, I feel like I can go through my, whole day, and like, I just don't have that dip. There's usually like a dip around 3-4 o'clock. I'm just like, I could go for like a nap or something, especially during the winter, like hibernate like a bear, And I feel like with Urban Mana, it's like, I just don't have that as much.
That was the aim of creating the product. And our society is used to what they think is energy, right? You go drink a coffee, you think you're gaining energy, right? I'm going to energize. I can't talk to anybody until I have my coffee first thing in the morning, right? What kind of a mistress is that? What kind of a state is that to live in? And then people eat something like a medicinal mushroom and they say, well, I'm not being energized the same way. It's like, well, you're used to 2 Americanos a day, right? You're used to whipping your adrenal glands with this caffeine to produce this fight or flight in your body, where your body is literally freaking out and sending energy, borrowing from one area to pay the other area. And the Pied Piper comes to collect. That's what the crash is. That's why you come down. That's why you get the jitters. That's why it's unsustainable, right? And Yeah, people are used to caffeine. They're used to that buzz, right? And so for our energy supplement, part of what we're going to try to do is to educate people on what holistic, sustainable, clean burning energy actually feels like. And
Mhm.
it's a position of clarity. It's not a buzz. You're not twanging, ready to just go crush tasks and get on an elliptical trainer or a bike and just crush it. It's not really like that, right? It's how do you step out of bed and move through your day, right? Is
Mhm.
it level headed, clear, and focused, or is it racy and all over the place, playing whack a mole with your problems as they come up,
Mhm.
right? So that's kind of why we created the product. But aside from taking good supplements, which are definitely a way to boost your state in the off season, um, another one is just nutrition.